After our 360 report on the Stapleton name change last week, we heard from dozens of you. One viewer writes, "We should not be honoring anyone who belonged to the KKK." And Annette says, "My grandmother told me stories about how she would flee her West Denver neighborhood in the 40s during KKK rallies. Families were terrorized." On the other side, Diana says, "We give the name too much power when its history is more important than its future. My vote is leave the name." And then there was this email from Roger. Why not provide some background on the man, Benjamin Stapleton? Yes, he joined the Klan to be elected, but he also uncovered the hypocrisy of the KKK. Your 360 folks should do a 180. So we are. Roger mentioned a book, and we found it at the Denver Public Library. It's called A Short History of Denver. Then we tracked down the co-author, Dr. Stephen Leonard, who is considered one of the top 3 Colorado historians in the world.
Stapleton was strongly connected with the Ku Klux Klan, but at the same time, he said in the election in 1923 that he was against bigotry and that he was a good guy.
By 1924, Leonard says Benjamin Stapleton had soured on the KKK.
A horrid organization.
In Leonard's book, he writes that Stapleton recognized that some Klansmen drank and gambled.
And he didn't like that. Stapleton was something of a Puritan. He didn't like violating prohibition. He didn't like gambling. He didn't like a lot of that.
So Leonard says Mayor Stapleton organized a group to bring down the KKK and its grand dragon, John Locke.
Stapleton organizes a group sort of outside of the police force, members of, I think, the American Legion, some members of the police force, some people from the state, to stage raids on the Klan speakeasies and gambling joints on Good Friday, 1925.
Leonard says while that chapter of Stapleton's political career could be considered noble,
I've described him as the ultimate stealth candidate.
Leonard does not endorse keeping the name or changing it.
I think it's excellent to have the debate. Maybe we should have sunset laws for names, and after every 50 years or so we review them. The past is not dead, the past is here now.
It's up to voters to decide. If you live in Stapleton, the ballots are now out. Keep in mind, the main question number 1, is on the back side of page 2 of your ballot, so you'll need to flip it over, and that's where you vote. Should the name Stapleton be legally removed, or should it be retained? Public opinions remain mixed.
We today are living the legacy of white supremacy.
He apologized for his active participation in it.
I don't see why we need to change it.
And now you have some history.
I think people need to judge people in their totality.
Russell Haythorne, Denver 7.